because we want to follow up on a story involving Charlotte Douglas airport workers and their call to city leaders when it comes to better wages, benefits, and safer working conditions. Now, if go back to April, you will remember workers urged council members to support the Charlotte Acting for Safety and Efficiency Ordinance, also known as CASE. And we have an update to this story. Julie Kay is here in the studio. That was from April, late April. What is the update now? I know City Council met last night, so what can you tell us?
And it was a really long City Council meeting. This was their last one before they go on a summer break, so lots to get to. But at the very end, Councilwoman Tijuana Brown brought up, we've got all these airport workers here. They came for public comment, as they have time and time again over the last couple months. Let's get this on the agenda. And after quite a bit of back and forth, the answer is no, we're not putting this on the agenda for the future. That doesn't necessarily mean never. Basically, it came down to a tie-breaking vote for Mayor Vi Lyles. It was a 4-4 back and forth, and she went with the no vote. She said it's not ready yet. So I'm hoping to talk to some airport workers later today. I've been chatting with the union, and they're setting me up with someone to just talk about what do we do now? What do you mean it's not ready yet? What does that conversation look like going forward? But obviously very disappointing after the multiple rounds of coverage we've done on it.
Yeah.
Pretty much for the last few months since April, every time you go to a city council meeting, especially if there's public forum involved, you're going to run into some airport workers. So definitely a blow to their push.
And they were already disappointed. I remember we covered correct me if I'm wrong, we covered a press conference and city leaders promised to show up, and they did not come. If you remember what I'm talking, if you remember, I know I kind of threw this out there, but
no, we did. We showed up, I believe it was a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and I don't know that they ever got confirmation from City Council that they were going to come.
Okay.
But they did ask, and they gave them plenty of warning, say, hey, we've got these letters from city or airport workers, talking about the conditions we're facing, why we need these higher wages, why we need guaranteed sick days, why we need better equipment and supplies to be able to clean the airplanes properly. These letters, hundreds of them, they wanted to hand deliver to City Council, and City Council was not even in the building. That was, I believe, around like 11 a.m. noon before a City Council meeting. So the odds of them being, nobody there is, slim but not impossible. But they did have a heads up, and so no, they were disappointed about that. It wasn't a great sign for the future of the CASE ordinance, but I think they were surprised that it didn't even end up on an agenda at all to be discussed in a committee.
One of the things we talked about, optics, right? Related but not related. You're talking about the PAVE Act and how this sort of factors in. Can you explain that?
Yeah, and so some of that I mentioned, it was a really long discussion last night, and Councilman Malcolm Graham brought up, kind of everything going on in Raleigh right now. Like everyone was kind of saying we need to be careful about what we do or don't do right now because the city of Charlotte, remember, is asking legislators in Raleigh to do something. Legislators in Raleigh, not always the biggest fans of Charlotte, depending on what the issue is. Basically, what they're asking is, the 1 cent sales tax, trying to get that on the ballot, either hopefully this year, or maybe later if not, to expand our transit programs. That's buses, that's pathways, but that's most importantly, I think for a lot of people, another light rail. So they're thinking about that as the PAVE Act, the thing that would allow that to get onto the ballot, is being discussed today. Now, it hasn't necessarily passed the House or anything like that, but it is up for that potential, and so they don't want to make any moves that would disrupt. But if you look at Charlotte Douglas, we're talking transit, that's one of the biggest draws to Charlotte and has been forever. So how are we going to, ask for this big thing but not invest in our airport, I think is kind of the situation we're dealing with. And what the workers are saying is, hey, it's not just about, I need to be able to, feed my kids and pay my rent, obviously, but it's also the experience of the people that are going through the airport that will make it better for everyone who goes through Charlotte Douglas, who lives and works here and has to travel, people vacationing. I've talked to people who are in charge of, ADA services. They're like, I have to push 2 wheelchairs at the same time. That's not safe and that's not fair. And that's not helpful for the people who need my services. I can't give them the full attention. I mentioned supplies for cleaning the airplane. People are saying we don't necessarily have what we need to clean the airport properly and quickly. That obviously can cause delays. That can cause a bad experience for customers. So it goes beyond just, what we've heard time and time again from all sorts of different groups of, we want higher pay, inflation, and we want to, earn a livable wage. This is something that directly impacts, they say, a high turnover rate that makes people's experience worse at the airport.
Wow, yeah, and you think about it, it just in general, your airport in a lot of your cities, like same size as Charlotte, big cities, that is the welcome sign for a lot of folks when they come into town. So it's just an interesting story. Yeah, a lot of developments in this story, and I know you said you're going to speak with airport workers a little later. Where can folks check out your story, or when can folks check out Your story?
I'll be on today at 6.
All right, Julie, thank you.
Nick.
Always entangling stuff when it comes to politics. That's Julie Kay there with her story concerning the case ordinance when it comes to airport workers at Charlotte Douglas. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.